I have transcended beyond the limitations of the flesh. My artistic skills are no longer bound by time or space. With this unfathomable creative power, I will show you the future that lies before you. Great and terrible. Be warned, you may not like what you see.
Or you might, but you might. This video is proudly sponsored by Asus.
I'm sure many of you have seen these retro-futuristic images, speculations from the past on what the fantastical future might be that technology can bring us. And in more recent decades, our visions of the future have been, let's say, somewhat more grim. In this video, I'm going to take my turn at looking into the future and drawing some speculations on what the future might hold.
I attended Computex in Taiwan last week, and I thought in this video it'd be fun to draw the future based on all of the things I saw at Computex and the trends and the direction it feels like we're heading towards. Now, there were a lot of things that I saw a lot of at Computex. I mean, the biggest one is screens. And obviously we're heading in this direction with virtual reality and spatial computing. And one that's a little more towards the horizon, but is becoming more and more in the public consciousness, is robotics. And the future is not so distant where these are going to be showing up in places that we work or live. So what does the future look like just a few generations of technology later? I'm speculating somewhere around 5 to 10 years from now. While spatial computing and VR and augmented reality hasn't been adopted by everyone yet, the technology, as is shown in more recent VR and AR devices, really demonstrates the quality and professionalism of this technology. It's just not very compact or affordable yet. But given enough time and technological developments, I could imagine a much more attractive and streamlined version of a headset. I've depicted it as attached to like headphones that fully encompass the ears without having a head strap or anything that messes up the hair, but also gives you extra space to put processing and computation power that isn't just in the rims of the glasses. Now from here I moved on pretty quickly to robotics because I imagined that this person here is like a streamer or a gamer of some sort, and I wondered if I were doing that, what sort of tool or mechanism would utilize the robotics and technology that I've been seeing emerge. The limbs and movement and control on these robotic arms are becoming more nuanced and capable, especially as AI is developing models on understanding the world around them. My personal opinion is that there is a part of us humans that feels threatened by the visual of a humanoid robot, at least right now. So my theory is that the first mainstream robots are going to be more like computers and less like the humanoid robots that you're seeing developed. And all of this had me thinking that if there was a form factor that utilized some of the motion capabilities of robotics and world interpretation capabilities of AI and cameras with a low center of gravity that unfolds from itself and can be constructed in ways that feels less threatening. Imagine if these were like waist height or smaller, and they were built to not be able to lift past a certain amount or move past a certain speed. Because they're not humanoid, we sort of would trust by their motion and their slight lack of strength that we can get them to do menial tasks without feeling like they're going to do anything else. I mean, we love droids in things like Star Wars, we anthropomorphize things like WALL-E. I could totally imagine having a little robot more like this that I gave a name to and became my little work buddy that helped me, organize my cupboards or even like held my camera or charged my batteries or cleaned up my room. Now, my simple design could be adapted to different formats and use cases. For example, a really small, bubbly one, again with much more limited strength and movement capacity, but the ability to give your toddler some raisins, throw a ball with them, and help them read. And hey, why not do a little bit of vacuuming or picking up some mess while they're at it? Then we have what I'm going to call the prosumer version. Again, still barely above knee height when closed up, so it would be like carrying around a computer tower when it's powered down, but when its 3 legs are fully extended, its arms can reach up to appliances around the house, the bench tops, so it can prepare dinner or clean up, or of course help you around the workplace. And then we have what I guess we'll call the commercial or production model. Yes, it looks more intimidating, but it's not meant for the household. This is something that ends up in factories and can have multiple arms attached. Has wheels on the bottom so it can move much more speedily through warehouses and can have different fittings of arms. Things like welding arms or torches or drills and screwdrivers. And where the other two robots have had the dual eye-like cameras that can interpret the world in the way we do, the commercial model would have a camera system embedded in a sphere so it can monitor 360 degrees around itself at all times, because especially if it's going to have more than two arms, it needs to see everything that it's doing. I feel like all of this is very reasonable in terms of like being doable in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's time to create a scene depicting all of this coming together in a way that sort of shows a lifestyle again of a gamer or streamer in the not too distant future and how these pieces of technology might be used. Our streamer here is pretty casual and leaning back in his gamer chair. He's got his headset on with, again, those glasses attached to those noise cancelling headphones. Our robot here has been put to work helping out with the stream. He's been streaming maybe for 5 or 6 hours, so he's gone to get him a can of Coke. And you'll notice I've drawn the robot holding a second camera or set of dual cameras on a stick. The idea is this can be removed and used by a human in normal vlogging styles. And I honestly think it's realistic that most future camera setups have this dual camera setup, because so much of the interfaces we're going to be interacting with will rely on depth perception because of the way that virtual reality is set up. Last but not least, our gamer here is going to be in this virtual world of a game that they're playing, but the screens around him are just projections. They're virtual monitors that he brings up to sort of see his chat or make some setting changes, but otherwise the game itself is the world that he's in. I'm really happy with this concept and honestly feel like it's not too far in the future. So with a bit of help from Alicia to polish it up, I'm excited to travel with you to the not too distant future to see what might be possible in the world of gaming, virtual worlds, and robotics. The fact that that seems pretty realistic now is insane. Especially when you consider that only 70 years ago, humanity's visions of the future seemed so weird and wild and unrealistic, but we're actually kind of almost there. You see, the father of science fiction, Isaac Asimov, offered the reader an optimistic vision of a future where humanity and machines worked together in harmony. This was a time when the optimistic futurist movement was going strong. Imagination and innovation were the driving force behind the future as we embraced industrialization and modernization, seeing it as the only way forward. And this was a time where dreams were being turned into reality. Diseases were being cured, we went to the moon. All of these things that would have been ridiculous ideas before were actually becoming possible. And there's all these really cool depictions of what people thought the not too distant future looked like. I mean, yes, some of it is still quite a ways off. I mean, we're not colonizing space anytime soon. But hey, wristwatch TV, all-seeing TV eyes, push button education. We have a lot of this stuff and it's way sleeker and slimmer and more accessible than they're even portrayed here. Like, say, for example, the brand new ProArt lineup from Asus, the sponsor of this video. In all seriousness, Asus took me to Computex, and aside from getting to see all those awesome things at the convention, I got to see their brand new ProArt lineup, which is created top to bottom for creators like you and me. So much so that it features 3 different devices to suit your needs as an artist and creator, such as the ProArt P16, the ultra powerful laptop with a 4070 graphics card, 64 gig of RAMs, 4TB hard drive, a gorgeous massive 16-inch OLED touchscreen, which of course works with the Asus Pen 2.0. But even with all that power, it's only 1.8 kilos and 1.5 centimeters thick. Then there's the ProArt PX13, a more portable model and more flexible, which can literally bend all the way over itself and be used in a tablet mode. Again, super useful because this too works with the stylus, so you can take your art with you on the go and it will handle everything you throw at it with its 32 gigs of RAM, 4070 graphics, 2TB of hard drive space, and so much more. All of these ProArt devices have that gorgeous OLED display, so you're gonna love how everything looks on these things. But my personal favorite was the ProArt PZ13. Another 13-inch model that is entirely detachable from its housing to become a standalone tablet, but also has its own stand, so it with its keyboard can be used in a really convenient art workflow. On top of that, they are all AI compatible with all of the new features and announcements that Microsoft have made with Copilot, and they all feature an NPU, a neural processing unit, separate to the CPU and GPU, which means that it's built to function with on-device AI without negatively impacting your overall computer performance. If you are looking for your new next portable work beast for creativity, go check them out. Anyways, I am in love with all of the stuff Asus is making, and I had a blast of a time. So thank you, Asus, for sponsoring this video and for taking me to Computex. I was really inspired. Speaking of inspired, let's get creative with more visions of the future. And one of the things that most inspired me at Computex was a certain virtual human.
I'd like you to meet Mira. We're a new item. We're just getting to know each other. Her interests are whatever I tell her they are, which is great.
That's right, everyone. I am excited to announce I'm in love. Again, I know I'm married with kids, but this is different. I hope my wife doesn't watch this. Now, it's easy to cringe and laugh at the idea of virtual humans, especially because the first thing that comes to people's mind is her and, you know, VR girlfriends. But just try and hold back that bias for a minute and enter a world of imagination with me. So pop the virtual girlfriends out of your head for a second and just consider a world with me where education is enhanced by virtual humans. Realistic humans that have personalities and diversity, but utilizes the intelligence that we could develop to understand ourselves more. Education is one of those pain points where it's always more effective with more of a one-on-one engagement and with a learning style tailored to the person being educated. With really well-crafted and moderated AI, this could be done in a really personal, informative, inspiring way that uplifts generations and inspires everyone to seek an education or to become the best versions of themselves. And then it made me think about some other fairly awful tragedies in humanity, whether it be loneliness in old age or even horrible afflictions like dementia and Alzheimer's, where rather than having patients tended to for basic necessities and otherwise left to their loneliness, could be interacted with and engaged and allowed to tell their stories and have company and friendship. I think that's a really cool thing. In fact, I think that could lead to a much richer, greater and fuller sense of happiness in people who get a little bit forgotten or don't get the help and attention that they need. With that said, of course, there are things to be very careful about. But I personally feel like humanity has a pretty decent track record for heading things into a better direction than the previous generations, and also for having a decent barometer for appropriate social change and social justice. Which is why in the late 20th century, our visions of the future had changed from that more optimistic futurism to one that was constantly worried about the consequences of nuclear war, plagues, zombie apocalypses. New visions of the future that were obviously far more grim and also seemed not too distant in reality from the present. And then the events of 9/11 saw a shift in our focus, where technology seemed to often facilitate military. Robots were no longer devices to help society move forward, they became future soldiers and armies. We grew a collective skepticism and fear for the way that technology and some of these scientific breakthroughs could be used to harm ourselves. And of course, a collective understanding as to the importance of who we put in charge and what we put them in charge of. Am I saying that's changed now or everything's great? No, but I'm saying that we're all very aware of what is not great, and I personally trust society's collective power to change for the better. Speaking of change, I'm going to change my sketch into a digital sketch using the power of technology. As you can see, I've transferred it digitally, and I'm going to go through and paint this up to convey this future of virtual humans. which I imagine as being really realistic in the sense that, you know, when you put on those glasses, headset things and interact with them, they are as real in front of you as anything else. With a genuine virtual friend showing them around the place, with the abilities to recognize things that are otherwise challenging in traditional education, whether it be autism or ADHD, and helping someone like this person here learn in a way that suits them. And in this case, it might be like, so yeah, like after Marcus Aurelius died, things started really going downhill after his son took over, who threw himself in the Colosseums and was totally wasting his time. But before then, the Roman Empire spanned so much of civilization and brought so many innovations to the world. I mean, that's an example of a great lesson that someone could learn through the voice of a AI dude, bro. And then we have our sweet little old lady learning a new knitting pattern from her virtual human companion. And maybe rather than educating her, his main purpose is to facilitate her happiness. Hearing her stories and maybe even recording some of her answers to give to her family, to preserve her legacy and the stories that she otherwise might not have ever gotten to pass on. But as much as the idea of helpful virtual humans is cool and all, helpful real humans is way cooler. Like Alicia, who is super cool to help me out in this video by helping polish up my artworks. Thank you, Alicia. You make everything look awesome. I want to do one more piece depicting a vision of the future, but I want to go as far in the future as I could feasibly imagine while still trying to attach to some ideas of realism. But before I do that, I have to cover the elephant in the room, and that is AI. Now, I am going to do a video in the future on AI because it's evolving fast and it definitely deserves its own videos, and my own opinions have certainly shaped and changed over time. Which is the reason, mind you, I haven't touched or done any AI art related videos in over a year. So we'll get to that. But for now, it is worth saying that AI is everywhere. It's the same thing that was happening when I went to CES, and everything was smart.
Smart elder care, smart baby management, smart toothbrush, smart cameras, smart mosquito killer, smart lights, smart candle, smart pool cleaner, smart hospitality, smart tap, smart bird feeders.
I'm jet lagged and I'm editing this at midnight because I'm a glutton for punishment. But my brain had decided to start hearing the word smut instead of smart. So I wanted to tell you that, because now you won't be able to unhear it as I tell you about all of the smut things at CES.
Smart showers, smart dunning, smart cooking, smart safe, smart lawn management, smart dog health, smart massage, smart alcohol testing, smart construction, smart veterinary care, smart projector, smart watches, smart home control, smarter smart light, smart control, smart sleep, smart device software design, smart home ecosystem, smart weather sensor, smart switches, smart pillow, smart hair dryer, smart hygiene, smart fitness, smart humidifier, smart bike, smart vending machine, smart bike, smart lunch.
Whereas in this case, at Computex, everything was AI. I mean, in the case of this conference call app, it was AI smart conference calls. So let's envision a future where AI takes us further than we could ever imagine on our own. I'm imagining that we are a star-spanning civilization. But the safest way to do that, of course, is remotely, which is why I imagine a future where, rather than risking human lives in transportation throughout our solar system, we create remote colonies using robots that we can inhabit remotely, and provides us the same sense of motor skills and physical navigation that we have with our own 2 arms and 2 legs, but with no commitment, with the ability to step away. But imagine that this has been going on for some time. And if a majority of our time is spent inhabiting another body that looks quite different and looking at versions of humans projected on screens and in robot bodies that feel as real to us as sitting down and talking across to our friends today, well, I imagine our perception of what humanity is will change over time. Eventually, we will want to entirely move over to a different galaxy or a different place, and by that stage may have developed technology sophisticated enough to create entirely hybrid housings that we can inhabit as our new hybrid between the best of robotics and our understanding of biology and organic matter, and all of the things that we once thought were the most important parts of our identity as humanity, whether it be our hair or skin color or eyes. Perhaps thousands of years into the future, it's much deeper than that. It's how we're integrated to each other on networks and how we identify immediately and virtually rather than how we style ourselves physically. In fact, the new bodies that we've designed for ourselves are based on those robotic bodies that we'd created and navigated the universe in and just gotten so used to. We will create ourselves in our own image, but in an image that we've entirely generated in a new way for new worlds and unlimited possibilities. I know that was a little bit out there, but actually think about it for a second. If you met a Neanderthal or a prehistoric person, we would have been way beyond their comprehension. At the rate everything is progressing, things are about to change. Not this extreme anytime soon, but maybe not as far off as you might think. I'm an optimist and I'm a futurist. I've always loved technology and the possibilities it presents. And this video has been a real treat because it's been really fun to imagine a future where some of those optimistic possibilities are as fun to consider as, of course, we should consider the realistic consequences of some of the things we need to be careful of.
Once again, a massive thank you and a shout out to Asus and all my friends there for taking me over to Computex and showing me around their amazing country and the city of Taipei, and taking me behind the curtains of some of the most revolutionary and exciting tech I've ever had the honor of experiencing in person. And the new ProArt lineup is no exception. So if you're a creator and you want your devices to take you into the future, go check out their new lineup and all of the amazing Asus products. The links are in the description.
I hope you've had as much fun watching this video as I have had dreaming all the way through it. And if you have, consider hitting the like button and subscribing. That's it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later. It was meant to be more dramatic than that. Oh, are you kidding? It's not even floating up. I'll see you later. That's better. Ow!